Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at a really fascinating set of sources. They span, what, over 5 centuries?
That's right, a huge time frame. But they all seem to point towards this single, very powerful theme.
Which is this idea of responsibility, right?
Yeah.
The responsibility that comes when you receive something profound, maybe grace, maybe great knowledge.
Exactly. Our mission today is to unpack how these huge historical events, like the end of a major exile.
A really brutal one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
How that connects conceptually to something quite personal. The mandate to make sure your own truth, your light, is actually visible.
So it's a deep dive into visibility, grace, accountability. It sounds intense.
It is, but it's also about divine intention, I think. We're tracing this thread, the idea that great things, God's big moves, they're just not meant to be hidden away.
Okay, so you're saying there's like a direct line from a king's decree centuries ago.
A non-Hebrew king, remember?
Yeah.
Cyrus. His divinely inspired decree literally shook the ancient world.
Right. A line from that to teachings about keeping a lamp, out on a stand, not hidden.
Precisely. We've got the history from Ezra chapter 1 that sets the scene.
Then the raw emotion in Psalm 126, the poetry of the returnees.
Mm-hmm. And finally, tying it all together, this really potent metaphor of light in Luke chapter 8 and Matthew chapter 5.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Let's unpack the history first, Ezra.
Yeah.
So King Cyrus of Persia, we have to start there because this isn't just a minor announcement.
Oh, absolutely not. It's a geopolitical earthquake, really. And the source zeroes in on the timing. His first year ruling this massive new empire.
And what's really striking, as you said, is how it's framed. Cyrus, this powerful emperor, basically says his decision to let the exiles go back and rebuild is explicitly to fulfill what the Lord, the God of Israel, had said through Jeremiah.
Which is just wild, isn't it? For a king who didn't worship the God of Israel to publicly say, yeah, this foreign deity told me to do this. It's a huge public acknowledgement.
More than acknowledgement. He claims universal authority from this God. The text says, thus says Cyrus, all the kingdoms of the earth, the Lord, the God of heaven, has given to me.
I mean, wow, that's an unparalleled claim of a divine commission from their God.
And he immediately connects that power to a job. Build the Lord a house in Jerusalem, specifically there.
It really makes you wonder, historically, why do this? I mean, sure, Persian policy was generally tolerant, letting people worship their own gods.
Right.
But ordering a specific costly rebuilding project for this relatively small group and claiming their God gave him the authority, that's way beyond just tolerance.
The source suggests divine inspiration. God stirred his spirit.
That seems to be the only explanation that fits the scale of it.
And the call to action is so clear. Anyone who belongs to his people, go up.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
But then there's this critical detail about support, which really speaks to the visibility you mentioned.
Yes, this is key. It wasn't just, okay, off you go. It was a mandate for help.
A mandate for who? For their neighbors. The decree says everyone who survived the exile, wherever they were living, must be helped by the people around them. This wasn't optional.
Wait, so the neighbors who might have been, their captors or at least living alongside them during the exile were required by the king of Persia to fund their departure.
Exactly. Required generosity. Talk about extraordinary.
Is that normal? Or is that part of what makes this unique?
It was absolutely extraordinary. And the decree lists exactly what they had to give. Silver, gold, goods, cattle, plus free will offerings on top of that.
So Cyrus wasn't just letting them leave. He was essentially bankrolling the start of their religious renewal through compulsory neighborly support.
Which makes the whole thing a massive, unavoidable, highly visible economic and political event. You couldn't miss it.
And the text says the response matched the decree's visibility. The leaders, family heads, priests, Levites, God inspired them, and they got ready to go.
And crucially, their neighbors did help substantially. Gave them the silver, the gold, all the required stuff, plus lots of other precious gifts.
So the inspiration led to tangible, material, public generosity, equipping them visibly for this huge undertaking.
Okay, so that sets the historical stage. Decree is out, people are funded, the return starts.
Now we pivot from the politics and logistics to the sheer human emotion of it all. Psalm 126. How did it actually feel for those people?
Oh, the imagery in the psalm is it's pure psychological shock and release. It says when the Lord brought them back, it felt like they were dreaming.
You can almost picture it. Decades of exile, hopelessness, maybe generations born in captivity. Then suddenly, this impossible decree.
It must have felt unreal. Too good to be true, their first reaction, not just quiet relief.
No, the text is vivid. Then our mouth was filled with laughter and our tongue with rejoicing. It's physical, audible, ecstatic joy pouring out.
And critically, this wasn't just a private celebration. It says the impact was so huge, it got noticed internationally.
Right. They said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The surrounding people saw it and recognized it as something significant.
This massive, unexpected reversal, funded by a foreign king, it served as this huge, visible testimony to everyone watching.
And the returnees echo it back. The Lord has done great things for us. We are glad indeed. Confirmation.
And that visible joy then leads into this really profound part of the psalm, the paradox about sowing and reaping. It connects their past pain with their present dawning hope.
Ah, yes. Those that sow in tears shall reap rejoicing. Let's pause on that for a second.
It's such a powerful metaphor.
Sowing in tears. That implies you're doing the work, right? Making the effort, maybe spending the money, taking the huge risk of going back to a ruined homeland while you're still hurting.
Precisely. You're still carrying the trauma, the grief, the difficulty, but you're also carrying the seed, the potential. You have to plant it, even through the tears.
And the promise is?
The promise is certainty. Although they go forth weeping, carrying the seed, they shall surely come back rejoicing, carrying their sheaves. The painful, visible effort now will yield a joyful, visible harvest later. It's guaranteed.
Which really brings it home for us, doesn't it? It makes you ask yourself,
what seeds are you sowing right now? Especially the ones that feel hard, the ones sown in tears. That difficult project, that commitment, that painful first step. Because the promise here is that the harvest, the outcome, will be visible and joyful.
Okay, so that historical return, that visible joy, it acts like a bridge for us, analytically speaking. We're moving from this national physical rebuilding, very public, very visible to spiritual truth, and this, well, absolute demand for visibility from the individual.
Exactly. If God's huge historical acts, like the return from exile, were meant to be seen by the nations, why would his expectation be any less for the truth or grace operating in your life?
It's the same principle, just scaled differently.
The theme of visibility just continues. Us too.
So let's get into Jesus' teaching on this. Luke chapter 8 seems very practical, almost common sense.
Right. No one lights a lamp and then hides it. You don't put it under a bowl or under the bed.
You put it on a lampstand.
Why? Simple. So that those who enter may see the light. The lamp's entire purpose is its visibility. That's its function.
And Matthew chapter 5 takes that function and applies it directly to our behavior, our actions.
Yes, that's the clear mandate. Let your light shine before others. Why? That they may see your good deeds. And the ultimate point, and glorify your heavenly Father.
So the light isn't really for us or our own glory. It's the good deeds, the outward evidence of something internal.
Which then points people back to the source. It redirects the glory.
It's still an interesting requirement, though. Why must others see the good deeds? Isn't, internal piety or quiet virtue enough sometimes?
Well, according to these sources, no. Because the core principle is that truth naturally seeks the light. It's meant to be a guide.
Like the return to Zion was this undeniable, visible guidepost for the nations.
Exactly. So your conduct, your lived truth, needs to be just as undeniable. And there's a warning attached to this.
Ah, yes. There is nothing hidden that will not become visible.
And nothing secret that will not be known and come to light. It sounds almost like a law of spiritual physics. If you have truth or grace, it will come out eventually.
The choice is whether you reveal it proactively through good deeds, or it just comes out anyway, maybe involuntarily.
That seems to be the implication. It's quite stark, especially, like you said, in a culture that sometimes values privacy above all else.
And Luke chapter 8 doubles down right after the lamp metaphor. It adds this critical warning. Take care then how you hear.
Yes, which connects directly to this principle of accumulation, or maybe stewardship is a better word.
Stewardship of what you've received.
Precisely. The warning continues. To anyone who has, more will be given. But from the one who has not, even what he seems to have will be taken away.
Okay, unpack that. If you hear the truth, receive the light, but then hide it, put it under the bed.
And don't use it publicly for good deeds, you actually risk losing even the understanding or capacity you thought you had. Why? Because it wasn't allowed to function, to grow, to serve its purpose.
So the public display of the light, the visible good deeds, is actually what fuels further growth, spiritual accumulation.
That's how it seems to work according to this passage. Visibility is the engine.
Wow. Okay, so if we try to tie this whole thread together, we have Cyrus's globally visible act of grace,
leading to the returnees' visible, tearful sowing, but also visible joy.
leading to this mandate for our own light, our own truth, to be visible through action.
It paints a picture where the word, as Psalm 119 says, isn't just passive knowledge, it's active. A lamp to my feet and a light to my path. It's fundamentally a tool for navigating and doing things.
So bringing it back to the listener, what does this accumulation principle, this need for visibility, look like day to day? It's not about boasting, right? Not tweeting every good deed.
No, not at all. It's about the consistency of your actions, creating a pattern, illuminating a path that others can see and maybe even follow. It's about living faithfully, being the lamp.
And the deeper insight seems to be that acting on the light you have actually leads to getting more light, more wisdom, more capacity.
Exactly. The more openly, consistently, visibly you apply the knowledge and grace you've already got, the more God entrusts you with. It's like an upward spiral. Visibility fuels growth.
Which mirrors the history we started with.
Yeah.
Cyrus's visible decree led to visible support, which led to visible rejoicing, which became a global testimony. That pattern holds.
So the practical application is pretty straightforward, even if it's challenging. It's about removing whatever makes us want to hide the lamp.
The fear, the hesitation.
Right. Fear of sharing what we know, fear of standing up for something true, maybe reluctance to offer that kind of mandated generosity that neighborly help Cyrus demanded. We have to remember the lamp is there so people entering the room can actually see.
It definitely pushes against our tendency towards, comfortable privacy. The good deed needs visibility so others see the source and glorify the Father, not just say, oh, that was nice.
It's about being a reference point. If you've received light, it wasn't just for you. It's meant to light the path for others. Maybe people still in the dark. Maybe people weeping, still carrying seeds they don't know how to plant yet.
Visibility is essential for the cycle of grace to continue. The historical grace was seen by nations. Our personal faithfulness needs to be seen by neighbors.
That sums it up perfectly. #tag outro.
Okay, so recapping the journey we've taken today.
We started with this incredible, divinely inspired command from a world leader, Cyrus, resulting in this massive, visible rebuilding effort, an undeniable historical event witnessed by everyone.
And we traced that principle of visibility right down to the personal level. The command for us to ensure our actions, our truth, are just as visible, reflecting that same divine reality.
The miracle of the exile's end was public record. The source material suggests our faithful lives should be too, in their own way.
Which leaves us with a final, pretty challenging thought, building directly on Luke and Matthew. We're called to let our light shine.
Knowing that nothing hidden will remain secret, and nothing secret will not be known. That seems to be the rule.
So if that's the operating principle, that truth, knowledge, grace will eventually come at it, here's the question for you to ponder.
What essential truth, what knowledge, maybe even what difficult, tearful seed are you holding back right now? Something meant for a lampstand, but that you're perhaps deliberately, maybe fearfully, keeping under a bed.
Something to think about. We'll leave you with that provocative thought until next time on The Deep Dive.